Ooh, I'm so glad when Daddy comes home. Yeah, this is a book we can read together. Huh?
Yeah, you are so glad when Daddy comes home, huh?
Yeah.
When children lose a parent, especially to suicide, it sends a powerful message to them. We as adults, we know that suicide is complex, and we know that people who take their own lives, they do it because they just don't know how to go on. But to a little child, they wonder, why did you leave me? I think the thing I worried about the very most was the message that could be internalized of, I'm not worth sticking around for.
John was 5 years old. He went into kindergarten and he became best friends with Beckett Mosier, who is Tony's son. And they would do things together and go on camping trips, and they would do them with both dads.
So one morning, I'm out cleaning my windows in my front yard. It's a Saturday morning. Beckett's 11 or 12 years old. He comes riding up on his bike. He looks like he's seen a ghost, and he says, Dad, John's dad just took his own life. So I dropped everything, ran over to John's house, and I was there on the scene, right, as a first responder to these two little boys who had just lost their dad.
I started hearing sirens going off and just wailing up and down the street. I had just the instinct to ride my bike all the way over to my dad's house, and because I knew something was wrong. I just stopped right before it and just prayed that everything was gonna be okay. And then I just saw all the cop cars and everything, and I was just really shocked at first. Like I really couldn't wrap my head around it.
That night when we found out, I had the boys sleep with me, and we just cried the whole night. We just cried. There's a lot of emotions: anger, denial, grief, just extreme sadness. It was hard to have the full responsibility of these two boys.
I knew that these little boys now needed someone to step up and step in. I told John, I said, right now, you're really sad. I said, however, as you get older, you may find yourself getting angry, because I think that's this wound that's gonna be coming out in that way later in your life. I told him that when he was 12 years old. I told him that a few weeks after he lost his dad.
John just became very anxious and very depressed, and just trying to find something to fix that hole in him from losing his dad.
All this grief and trauma, he didn't have the language to work through that or the capacity as a little guy. And so as he got older, that grief just turned into depression and anger and acting out.
For a while, I just kind of bottled it up, all those emotions, and it just started to burn a little bit. And so I looked for ways that I could kind of get rid of that. And I definitely came across drugs as one of them.
Often he would run off. It would scare me because I didn't know what he would do.
There were a lot of nights of going out and looking under bushes and driving around, calling his name and trying to find him.
I just wanted to run away from all my problems. I didn't want to face them. I didn't want to go through them. I didn't want to learn. I didn't really care, so a lot of things just didn't matter to me anymore.
One time I found out John had been drinking alcohol, and I couldn't find him. A friend had gotten him some vodka. They had gone up on the mountain, and he had gotten very, very drunk and passed out in the mud. And I was out looking for him. I didn't know where he was. When I got back to the house, I found John in his bed, covered with mud, covered with vomit. He was barely conscious. And so I took him to the emergency room and found out he had alcohol poisoning.
I just felt like I was done, basically. It would just be easier just to not be alive anymore. I definitely remember feeling like I hit rock bottom.
Families in this situation, they try outpatient therapy, they try medications, they try community mentoring, and in some cases, it's just not enough. Many don't know what their options are. They don't know that there's inpatient programs. They don't know that there's places of refuge and healing and help out there that are that higher level of intervention. John's mother ended up finding a program. Of course, it was expensive. And what we did was we all sacrificed. No one person could just step up and afford the price tag to give him this gift. But we crowdsourced it. We scoured the neighborhood. We went to his church. We went to people in his family. We went to people in my family. And little by little, we were able to cobble together enough to make this work.
I didn't want to go to a treatment center just because I hate the feeling of being like kind of like a rat in a cage almost.
He hated it at first. He hated it. But as time went on, he had a wonderful therapist and things all of a sudden clicked. And he was able to work through the trauma of his dad's death.
I remember him telling me, it feels like I'm at the base of a mountain and I'm looking up and I've got to summit this huge mountain and I'm overwhelmed by all the work I have to do. But he tackled it. He tackled it with courage and class, just the way John would.
He developed a camaraderie, with the other boys, and they did a lot of fun things together. I think at some point he started to enjoy himself and have fun.
The light came back to his eyes. The smile came back to his face. He just came back to life.
I feel like there was a time where I got like away from all like the noise of everyday life and all the distractions and all the drugs, and I gotta clear my head and I gotta step back and reflect about everything that had happened. And it was really good for me to reflect because then I realized that I could get through it and I could change by the end of it and I could be better.
John was in treatment for 10 months. Many families won't need something this intense, but some families do. That separation, paradoxically, allows you to become a person that when you go back to your old environment, you can now have true closeness with the people you love.
John's been home a year now. I've told him many times that I love him more than anybody else loves him. And that's why I've gone to these lengths to try to get him help. I think the treatment helped him to get past the pain and trauma of his past and take responsibility for his life. And knowing that even if he slips up, it's not the end of the world. He can try again.
I would say that in general, everything's better. He has resiliency. He has tools to kind of withstand the buffetings of life. What I got to see happen with John was the saving of a life. It was helping a family find healing and find their happiness again.
I think people have to realize that on the road to healing, you're gonna wanna give up a lot of times, but you just gotta keep on going and things will get better. I wanna share my story because I want people that were in the same or a similar situation to know that there are options for you and that you don't have to be left in the dark and that you can be happy.